Let's take a look now at scheduling some maintenance contracts once you've set up the jobs. It's really important to start the scheduling process from your actual work calendars. It's going to make your scheduling far easier. Certainly, you can go through and create a schedule for a job on a visit by visit basis, but that's going to take you a long time. And work calendars allow you to create templates, especially for maintenance jobs, that make it far simpler. Here I've gone to the schedule menu and then over here, work calendars. My lawn maintenance calendar has visit schedules set up for gold, silver, and bronze mowing packages. My gold has the most visits, followed by my silver and followed by my bronze. And then within these visit packages are date ranges, starting and end dates, and how often we go, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever, and how many days to leave between visits and what we're doing when we're there. And actually also a time factor to allow me to estimate how much time I'm going to spend at site at different times of the year. Because of course we've got times of the year where things are growing quickly and are going to take longer, and then other times of year when things grow much less quickly and we don't need to spend necessarily as much time there. Now you can get all the information you need about setting up work calendars using the help button on work calendars. So rather than go through all that here in this video, highly recommend you stop and create your work calendars first and use the help video here to help you do that. There's examples in that video. Now let's jump back to our job now. Well, let's use a work calendar to schedule some of our maintenance work. I'm going to go back to my Acme Plaza contract here. And now I'm going to go over to schedule to add this job to the schedule. You can do this from the schedule screen, or you can do it here from the job screen as well. Down on the bottom right, I'm going to add this job to the calendar. First, I need to pick the calendar. So I'm going to pick my lawn maintenance calendar because that's what part of this job I'm scheduling. I've got other things on this job: spring cleanup, fall cleanup. I've got lawn or garden maintenance. I'm not scheduling those tasks right now. You don't schedule the whole job at once. You schedule it by task because each one has a different recurrence pattern. So I'm going to schedule lawn maintenance, and I'm going to pick the task as my weekly mowing, for example. Now I want to make sure my schedule description is pretty clear so that I know what it is when I'm looking at my schedule. So I set that to mowing. And then if I had a manager and a work order, I could assign that as well. We'll go next. And the visit schedule pattern I'm going to pick for this job is 31 visits. It's a gold package. That's what they signed up for. So here it's telling me starting on April 5th through to November the 7th at possibly different intervals. You know, sometimes of the year you might go bi-weekly and other times you go weekly. I've got all this set up as weekly, but I could optionally set it up to do it bi-weekly at some periods. I've now created a template for my package. All I need to do is pick the date that I want to actually do this job. So I'm going to schedule them for Thursdays. And we'll go next. And now it's going to take the estimated man hours on the job by the number of visits, figure out the estimated number of visits. If I can, I'm going to assign my crew now. If you can't, you can leave it as unassigned, but at least try to guess the crew size accurately so that you get a fairly accurate schedule amount of time. You can change this later if you did make a mistake or you decide later to change the crew size. It's certainly editable later, but get it as close as you can now so that it's as right as possible when you're adding it to the schedule. So here I'm going to say this is a two-man crew doing this job. So therefore, they have 1.26 crew hours per visit. Remember, the estimated man hours per visit here is for total number of man hours. Now that I know it's a two-man crew, I can figure out, okay, the crew is going to be here for about an hour and a quarter. And they're also going to have a quarter of an hour on productive time. Now, if this job is really far away, I can add time to that. Or if that job is really close to any other jobs, I can reduce the time for that. The quarter hour is simply my default. So now it tells me here I'm going to have 31 visits at an hour and 30 minutes a visit. Includes 15 minutes on productive time. And I get an hour and 30 minutes by looking at 1.25 hours of production time and another quarter hour of unproductive or driving time. There's my total hour and a half. So I go next, there's just a summary of what I entered, and I hit next, and now it creates all those dates for me and includes the time factors and what we're doing there. So I'm going to double check this and make sure that it looks good, look for warnings, look that I have indeed scheduled about as much time as I've estimated, and then hit finish. And when I add that to the job and I click the details, you're going to see every single visit scheduled for this mowing job. Now let's take a look at what this looks like for the crews when they clock into that job. So I've already got a timesheet started for the crew. So let's imagine now that they went to, I'm actually going to pick the schedule, and I'm going to say we're lawn B. So now it knows I've got this Acme Plaza contract job in the schedule. So they're going to click that and hit next. Again, pick my staff and what we're doing while we're there. And because it's mowing, we want to be clocked into weekly maintenance, or at least that's what I've called it. There's the task note that we set up on that job. And I'm just going to back up my time so it looks like I've been here for a little bit. So I'm going to say we clocked in there at 12:18, and I'll say we finished the job at 2:11. Hit next. It's asking me for notes. If everything went great, I put OK. If there was any problems, the crew should enter the problems in there, and then they're going to hit save. Now it detects that job's on the schedule. So it's asking the crew, did you complete the cut? They can't skip this. If they try and go past it, it's going to say, no, you have to confirm that you either did or did not do the cut before it'll let them go past it. So they shouldn't miss anything. If they got rained out, for example, or maybe they were just going back to fix a problem, they would not mark this as cut because it didn't get completed. But assuming they did complete the mow, they're going to turn that on. And then that'll mark that scheduled event as completed. So let's go back to our master and see what's happened now. If I go back to my LMN, and actually if I look at my daily schedule first, I'm going to put all my crews on there. You can see the Acme Plaza contract is now ticked off. And if I look at edit visit, it tells me that Sam Back, who was the foreman I was clocked in under, did this job at 2:19 p.m. So there's the information back at the office immediately from what the crews ticked off. Or I could also go to the job section of this job and look at that job on the schedule tab. And if I pull up the details, you can see that, okay, this job was scheduled Thursday 9th, completed Thursday 9th, completed by Sam, and I could dive into the details if I wanted to. And as the schedule gets completed, you'll see each date, when it was scheduled, when it actually got completed, which foreman completed it as the year goes on. You can print that screen there, or there are other ways to print what kind of work got done. If you go to your schedule tab and you go to schedule review, you can pick completed work and set a date range for which you want to track what jobs got completed. And you can see what across all your jobs, what scheduled events got completed, what days they were completed on, which foreman completed them, et cetera, et cetera.